Hey everybody, welcome to FabFit Friday. I've been working on a bunch of things this week, and one of them was my very annoying cool tool that I shot out for Monday. And the end result of my agita with that was I realized that I had settings wrong on my channel. So if you follow along with me, you might have seen, I'm just gonna bring it over here, my little organized stash and store from It's So Emma, and I fill it with stuff that I use that I constantly lose on my work surface. So if you didn't have a chance to see that video, you're lucky, because it was AI dubbed in English over my voice, and I spent nearly a week trying to fix it. And I will tell you what happened. And actually, this topic is also going to be an upcoming video. I'm either going to get it done later this afternoon or tomorrow, and I'm going to post it because I'm super excited to tell you guys that YouTube is now offering auto dubbing in other languages for, and get this, I feel like we're so special, finally in YouTube, or on YouTube, sewing and cooking channels. Hey Cindy, welcome. So YouTube is rolling out auto dubbing for foreign languages on YouTube, and not every channel has this feature yet, but they did give it to me, and unbeknownst to me, I was trying to figure out something else a while back about captions. So you know how, like, if you speak Spanish and you can't understand me, I was trying to figure out how to make Spanish captions. So I changed my video language to Spanish, and I listened to my video and it was still English. So I thought, oh, it must be that people who are Spanish can see it in Spanish, or their Spanish subtitles, whatever. I totally screwed that up. So let me just stop and say hi to Cindy, Victoria, Vicky, and Arlene. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Oh, no, excuse me. Oh, Vicky says the dubbing was kind of fun. Well, it was. I guess if you want to look at it that way, it was interesting. But let me tell you why it happened. It happened because I set my video and my channel to Spanish. So when they rolled out this auto dubbing feature, they changed my Spanish video into English, but it was already in English. So that's why that got funky. And then some smarty subscribers like Pat and a couple other people commented that if you go into the settings and select Spanish /US, it plays with my natural voice. So basically, once I realized that YouTube rolled out this auto dubbing feature, I went back and I figured out that I had to set my settings back to English, where they should have been all along. And then I was able to upload the cool tools again, finally. So if you're interested in checking this out, go check out cool tools from Monday and click on the little settings icon, you know, at the bottom of the screen, and then go to, it's either audio, I think it's audio, or audio tracks, or language. Basically, you can switch it and you can hear me speak in French, Italian, Japanese, Spanish, and a few others. So if you are watching me from a foreign country and you want to follow along with my uploaded videos, not my live streams, but my uploaded videos in your native language, you can do that now. So I will be doing that on every uploaded video, and I will change the description and the title of the videos to that language as well, using Google Translate. So I'm kind of excited about that. I think if you have preferences, like if you say that you are French speaking and there is French option, it might just play for you. I'm not sure about that yet, but basically that's what happened with my cool tools this week. So that took up a lot of my time, because first I thought I was hacked. Then I couldn't figure out what the problem was. I kept trying to re-upload it and getting the same result until I figured out what the situation was. So I apologize to everybody about that. Cindy thinks it's hilarious. Oh, and Mary has 3 feet of snow. Oh, that's so cool, Mary. We got 3 inches of rain on Wednesday. So that's what the weather's doing here. It's cold now, but we got all that rain, which we need, but also it's December and it looks kind of gross out now because everything is just wet and, you know, dead from, you know, being winter. So I would love to get some snow over here. And she's putting sourdough bagels into the oven. Oh my goodness. I killed my sourdough starter at some point a few months back. I have to get mine going again because I really miss having my sourdough bread toast with my coffee in the morning. So I'm going to have to get going. Oh, Arlene says it's cold in Philly. It's cold here, but it's sunny. Also, I took Sophie for her first walk after her accident where she got a huge laceration like 3 weeks ago. And the whole entire time I was hiking, I kept calling for her because I was so nervous she was going to get into another accident, but we made it. So yay. Oh, oh, Cindy says it's 60, beautiful 65, going to be 70. Well, that's nice. I guess if that's your climate, that's where you want to be. That's really cool. All right. So I really want to get these jeans done that I'm working on because I love them. I wore them without the waistband on for a while yesterday while I was working in here, and they are so comfortable. I cannot wait to just get them finished. So I was playing with back pocket ideas. So I'm going to show you a few things here. I'm going to switch my view. Vicky says we had 3 days of snow and then 3 days of -20 degrees. It's warming up now for the weekend, just below the freezing mark. Wow. That's cold, Vicky. Woo! Oh, and Cindy says she's in Odessa, Texas. Ooh, well, yay. All right, so I want you guys to check out what I have going on over here. I'm going to blow my screen out for a second, so shut your eyes. And I want to just take down this brightness a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right, I think that's better. All right, so first of all, I want to show you, this is an antique practically. Well, it's not an antique, but this is the first pocket, oh, in winter peg. Well, maybe I need to move to a snowier climate because I really miss it. All right, so this is one of my original pocket templates. You can see that I have the pattern hook punch hole in it. I loved this punch, and I am sorry to say that I misplaced it in a move and I cannot find it anymore, but that tells me how old it is because it's got the pattern hook punch hole in it. And this is my original first back pocket design. So what I did was I traced it onto a piece of oak tag. Oak tag is a, you know, it's, what do I want to say? It's a slightly heavier than paper. It's not quite cardboard, but it's heavier than paper, and it's really good for making templates for things that you're going to use over and over again. So basically, I traced it, and then what I did was I drew out a U shape, and what I wanted to do was make a J. So you can see here's a J. So I made a little space, and then I finished the side of the U for a back pocket design. And then after I drew the design, I cut it out because the next thing I would do here is if I were going to be making right and left pockets, I don't want both of my pockets to be faced with the J, okay? Because I don't like having a directional design on a back pocket going in the same direction left and right. So what I would do here is I would find something that I could write with, and you know, it could be a pen or it could be you know, something permanent, because again, you're going to be stitching over it, and so it's not going to be noticeable. And I'm going to use my sew tights to stick it on, because I don't want to pin through my template, but I want it to stay secure. And then that is my husband calling me. He knows I'm live. Let me just text him. I'm live. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so basically, what I would do here is I would literally just use a pen or something I could see, and I would just carefully dash in my design like this. And it doesn't have to be a solid line, because, you know, I'm going to follow along and stitch like this. But what I want to show you here is this makes a really good way to create a template that I could then flip over and mirror image. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just tracing it. And I am using a pen. If you want to use chalk, you could use chalk. But basically now, there's my design. I think you can see it, right? Here, let me make it a little bit brighter so you can see. See how you can see the design? And then to do the opposite leg, what I would do is I would turn it this way so I have a right and left. So that's how you can create a template for top stitching a design onto a back pocket. Now notice the back pocket is not cut out yet. I would do the top stitching, then center your pattern piece back out, right, and cut it out, and then you could finish the, you know, turn the edges under, turn the top under, top stitch the top. So that's a good way to do a back pocket and have mirror imaged design. Hey Patricia, welcome from Missouri. Welcome, welcome. Now, I also scanned this into my computer so I could digitize it, because I thought to myself, oh, look at, oh no, I can't show you that, never mind. I thought those were my measurements. Those are not my measurements. I drew someone else's measurements from a long time ago on the back of this, so I would remember them, but they're not my measurements, so I'm not sharing. Okay, so what I did was I brought it into my digitizing software, and you can see I created my first one. I forgot to mirror image it once I scanned it in, so I filled the J with a motif fill, and then I thought that was a little bit aggressive, so I picked a slightly less dense wavy fill, so you can see there's barely anything there, but I kind of like that. And then I also wanted to try doing it as an applique, and you'll see it looks a little bit messy now. I'm gonna like zoom in here so you can really see it. This is, I threw this in the washer and dryer once. So you would imagine over time, this whole edge will become frayed and sort of like a fringe around the J. So this is an applique design, and this design you'll be able to use either denim or a contrasting cotton, you know, any other kind of fabric, and cut it close to the initial stitching so it wouldn't have raw edges. So you can do it both ways. So this is another design I'm working on, and I'm going to create a mini collection of back pocket designs, including these 3 options. Well, actually, there'll be 4 options for this. I'm going to also include this as a plain top stitch design with no fill. It'll have this delicate fill, and then it'll also have a more dense fill. And then I thought it would be fun to digitize my original design. So you can see here, this is my original design, and I used 2 different decorative stitches to create the stitching, and that will be part of the collection too. And when I get those done, I will let you know, and I will format them. For all the different sewing machine files. So there'll be, you know, Viking and Pfaff and Brother and Bernina and all the things. So I'll have all this available, and I will let you know when they're ready to go. Oh, Vicky says, oh, I did initially offer this design back in 2012. So this design is actually 12 years old. That's a long time ago. I did change it a little bit, but it's basically the same design. Vicky, that makes my heart so happy that you have it. Oh, Cindy, have a nice lunch. And thank you for catching the replay. Hey, Tana, you remembered to tune in. Yay! You've been making Christmas gifts, curtains, and new ironing board cover, and everything fits. I love that. I think that's excellent. Oops. I did something to my thing. Oh. Hold on. I did something crazy to my I did this last week too, where my mouse touched the computer screen and now I can't see the oh shoot. All right, I can't see the chat box because I did something to my screen, and I did it last week too. Let me just look and see if I can find us on my phone so I can keep track of any comments here. That's annoying. I'm gonna have to figure out what it is that I did, and then also know how to switch it back, because all I can see on my back end is my video screen, which you can see. All right, so let's see. Oh, I can see the chat now. Oh, Vicky said that I came to the ASG Wichita. I still remember that. Oh my goodness. That is a blast from the past. I had such a great time in Wichita. That was a long time ago. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so happy that you still follow along with me. All right, so let's get on to the next thing here. I'm gonna figure out which pocket I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use one of these. My guess is it's gonna be either this one or this one on my jeans that I'm making now. And this is gonna be the finished size, so the edges will be turned under, you know, when I put them on my jeans. But what I want to move on to now is the waistband. And what I decided to do here is sometimes my waistband, I will take the waistband facing and I will finish the bottom edge with a contrasting or, you know, coordinating fabric to make it decorative. I'm not going to do that this time. I just want to get these done. So I've just clean finished. If you look really closely here, you can see, let me get it sharp. Maybe make it a little bit lighter. I used the gray, which is almost a perfect match, and I just clean finished the bottom edges of my facing pieces already, so they're ready to go. So what we're going to do here is I am going to drag in my machine. Oh, Vicky, you know what? I'm not going to show you. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to do that. All right. Okay. So let me just cut these in half. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to put the waistband on is I'm going to put my my center back seams right sides together like this. And you know, when you're working with your waistband pattern, you know, sometimes you may have a straight waistband. I have a contoured waistband, so you can see it's got a little bit of a curve, and the curve is in the back, and then it's straight. So I know that my center back seam is where the curved part of the waistband is. So I am going to just sew this at, you know, about a 1/2 inch. I make my waistbands longer than we need because then I don't have to worry about being exact. So I'm going to go ahead and just sew these together. Oops. Is everything okay with my... I'm going to see why that did that. That scared me. Oh, look at that. What does that tell you? That tells you that one or both of my threads are not in the take-up lever. And actually, I can see... Hold on, let me see if I can see that they're not in my take-up lever. So I am going to cut my threads, unthread my machine, and I'm going to thread it back up here. I'm still using the double thread because it works fine, and then I can just go straight from sewing and top stitching without changing to top stitching thread. I think that's kind of a cool thing to do. And of course, I lost my, I lost my thread magic. I was going to use my thread magic to coat the ends of the threads so I can thread them all at once. Let me see if I can do it. Let me see if I can do it with just a sharp cut. My dad gave me these scissors. I don't know how I feel about them yet, but they're very sharp and I like them. So they're kind of funky, but I like them, so I'm using them. If I find that they're really good for certain things, I will definitely share more about those later. Okay, so let me just see if I can thread both of these in one shot. Come on. Well, I got one. So, all right, so I got one to go in. So to get the other one to go in, I am just going to hold it up high. So I'm going to hold it above, like, so it's pressed up against the top of the eye of the needle to get the second one in. But if I had my thread magic, I would be able to probably get it in there at the same time. Next time my machine goes in for service, I'm going to get the needle threader fixed. All right, so now I'm rethreaded and we should be fine here. So let's try this one more time. So I am again going to, I'll get rid of my little goober. You guys know that if something shows up on the underside of your fabric when you're stitching, the problem is on the underside, that means it's a top tension problem. So if you've got a boo-boo on the bottom, it's your threading on top. Okay, Vicky says, how many times do you coat the thread for hand sewing? One swipe seems to wear off before I'm finished. Well, I've only coated it with one time, but a lot of my hand sewing is not, you know, extensive. Plus, keeping your thread short so you use it faster might help with it wearing off before you finish. Victoria says, I was working on my skirt waistband. I had to change thread colors, so the thing you put spools of thread had fallen off. It took me a while to figure out how to put it back on. No instructions. Ooh. Oh, Mary's asking me, is your dad doing okay now? My dad came to live with me for a few years after my mom passed away. Oh, let me just talk about that for 1 second. I think my dad is doing better than anybody because he was with my mom every day, except if he had a doctor's appointment when she moved to South Farms, and that was 2.5 years. And, you know, he knew she was ready. He knew she was ready, and now he doesn't have to worry about her. He feels that she's safe and she's in heaven. And so actually he is doing really, really well. And I think that's part of the blessing of, you know, living through someone who has a long illness versus something that's shocking like a car accident or like a sudden illness. So my father is doing amazing. So thank you for asking, Mary, because that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to perk up, is because he's perking up. So I'm kind of happy about that. So that's actually a yay. And my stepson, who was in the very serious motorcycle accident like 2 months ago, is actually running around doing errands with his dad today. So that's how well he's doing. So I'm really happy about how he's doing amazing too. So all of those things are getting me to, perk up. I will tell you, I'm not getting a Christmas tree this year. I'm not in the mood. I can't, for some reason, that one thing is not happening. But I do have my grandmother's tree, a little tree that I refurbished, and I'm using that as my Christmas tree this year. All right, so that's all of that. Oh, Janie says, good to hear he's doing better. He really is. He feels relieved, I think. And, I'm sure he talks to my mom every day. Anyway, so like I do, so I think it's okay. Thank you guys for asking. I appreciate that. All right, so now let me sew this. Hopefully we can sew without jamming up. Ooh, it's still being funky. Why is it doing that? Is it? Maybe it was just a errant noise. All right, so this is sewn. And what I'm going to do here, I can't remember. I don't think I did a cool tool on this yet, but I have some magic pins from Taylor Seville, and they're forked. I may have done it, I don't know. I can't remember if I did this as a video yet, but basically, if I haven't, I'm going to, because I love these pins. And the reason why I love these pins is because I'm now going to sew the waistband to the facing. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, let me just, this is my waistband. Let me just sew this one first as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited about these forked pins. Hold on. All right, let me just stitch this. All right. All right, so here's why I'm excited about these forked pins. Instead of going to the iron and really giving this a good flat press, I could give this a really nice finger press like this. And then I'm going to put, this one. So I've got my waistband facing. I'm going to put them together, right sides together like this. Let me make my view bigger so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put right sides together. I'll lay it down. Okay, so obviously, if you have a contoured waistband, it makes like a little smile. So see how it's kind of doing this? And now I'm going to put the facing right on top of it like this. Okay, and here's why I love these forked pins. I'm going to zoom back in here. Tana says, I bought an Aliso M3 Pro iron because my Rowenta was burning my fingers doing close work with bias binding. I love this iron. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get mine. I've heard so many wonderful things about that mini Pro iron. All right, so see all these layers? I'm going to finger press them, and then I'm going to use a fork pin on this side through all the layers, and I'm going to put a forked pin on this side through all the layers. And the thing about these pins are, because they're forked, and you can see they're also bent. So see how, if I put it like this, I think you'll be able to see how they're bent. The bend actually helps get it in and get it out, and they don't fall out. So I've been using these pins a lot for things when I want it to be extra secure and I want to hold all these layers like this. So see how I put one on either side. Another way to use this pin is you could actually pin through all the layers, and you can hold, see how it's holding on both sides, all the layers together. Oh, Vicky says I found it hard to hold onto at first, but I'm getting used to it. I saw someone using the new model with an on-off switch, which mine doesn't have. Oh, yeah, it is a little bit, that she's talking about the mini iron. That is a little bit funky because it's small like that, but I do have a mini iron. I just don't have the new one. So I do like it. But getting back to this, because I also want to make sure I'm matching my seams, I'm going to use 2 of these pins like this. Karen loves it. I don't know if you love the iron, the Aliso M Pro, or if you love these pins. I will tell you that I am in love with anything magic pin from Taylor Seville. I love these pins. All right, and so then I'm just gonna, you know, I don't think I'm gonna pin anything else. I'm not a huge pinner, but I like to pin where it counts. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sew my waistband and facing together like this. And I'm just going to back tack here, and we're just going to sew this, and as I sew, I'm just going to keep all my layers together. Oh, Karen is talking about the pins, but she also has a pink Aliso. I love that they come in fun colors. Yes, they go through the denim fine, Mary. This is 6 layers of denim, and it was no problem. All right, so when I get to this heavy spot, I'm going to take, as soon as my presser feet get on this seam allowance, I'm going to take it off. I don't want to sew over these because I have 2 pins to dodge with my needle, so I don't want to get in trouble here. So I'm not going to sew over them. Okay. All right. So now you know the next thing we're going to do is understitching. But I just want to show you, look at how perfectly my thing matched up using those pins. They really do a good job of holding things together. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to bring this back down here, and I'm going to open up my waistband and facing, and I'm going to understitch about 1/8 of an inch away, so it will encourage my facing to turn inside when I have this on. And as always, I'm going to pull this way as I understitch to give it a little tension. Now notice I didn't take the time to iron yet because it's really not necessary, because I'm pulling it. I'm physically pulling it open. Oh, Janie said she never thought of using those pins for in garment sewing. Oh, I love them. I was using them to pin my twisted inseams and side seams together because they really don't come out of the fabric like single pins can sometimes wiggle out. And I think I showed you guys my little hump jumper trick. I don't necessarily need it now, but you know, you can get one of those purple things, or you can just roll up a piece of scrap that has the same number of layers as what you're going to sew over. And I'm going to be sewing over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of denim. So I rolled this up so it's 6 layers deep. And then when I get to the hump, I'm going to pick up my presser foot and I'm going to put this underneath. And what that does is it'll keep the presser foot even. And then my stitches won't get smaller. More important for things like hemming, but still it's a good trick. And you'll always have just the right you know, height in the back of your presser foot. Okay, I'm almost done with this. All right, now we're going to iron. Okay, let me just get my little pressing surface here. My iron. And I'll make this a little bit bigger so we can see. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to turn this so that I can see the turn of cloth on the waistband side, meaning I want to see the fold of the waistband. So that's right here, this little fold down here, that's the waistband. I want to see that as I press. That means from the right side, it won't show. I want all of that to be on the underside of my garment. And I don't know, I want to see how this denim is pretty thick. I'm going to use my clapper to really press the intersection of the center back seams. Oops. Oh, hi Barbara, welcome. It's okay, thank you for joining. You're not required to come on time. You can always go back and watch anything you missed. All right, so now before I press here, I am just gonna give these a little flat here. Also, to remove some bulk, I'm going to try using these little scissors my dad gave me. I am going to actually trim. I could have done that before I understitched, actually. I'm just going to trim these a little bit here to remove a little bit of bulk here like this. I like these little scissors. Okay. That'll just remove a little bulk. All right, so as I press this now, notice I want it to also be shaped like it's supposed to be shaped, so I'm not stretching it straight. So you can see the curve here, right? And I'm going to apply some nice steam here. And then I'm going to take my clapper, and really I just want to get that seam allowance so it's nice and flat. Okay. Oops. It would be good if you could see what I'm doing, huh? All right, we're almost done pressing here. All right, so I've got this nice pressed waistband with a facing. Now we're going to sew that onto my jeans. I'm going to start in the back here. And since I was using those purple fork pins, I'm going to keep using them here. So I'm going to line up my edge of my center back seam on my waistband with the center back seam of my yoke here. Yes, Barbara, this is a contoured waistband. And actually, speaking of waistbands, you don't have to use waistbands from the same pattern. Notice I'm using my Sorsha Classic Slim Trousered contoured waistband on my jeans because this waistband fits me beautifully. So that's the one I'm using on my jeans. I find having just a little bit of curve in the back really helps it fit nicely without gaping. All right, so again, I'm going to use 2 of these here. And again, notice I'm going through all those layers. Now, this is stretchy because I cut my yokes on the bias. So I'm going to actually stretch my waistband a little bit. I did not interface my waistband, and with denims I usually don't, but what I want to show you here is I'm going to make sure that the waistband is shorter from the center back to the side seam compared to the yoke, because I want to sort of, make sure it's not going to gape out on me. I don't want this to, stretch out more than I need. So I'm going to just make sure that, and if I pinch it, let me put a pin here and then I'll show you. Now both of my seam allowances at the side seam are going towards the back as well. So let me just show you here. I just want to show you how much extra I have. My ringer's on. So if I smush it over to one side, you can see there's probably just 3/8 of an inch extra. I mean, the waistband's about 3/8 of an inch shorter. So I'm going to do the same thing over here on my other side. Just going to make sure it's that little bit shorter. So you can make it equal, right? And then what you do is you scooch it up. So I'm going to scooch it about 3/8 and then pin it. And then I'm going to check it. So again, I just want to make sure I have just a little bit. I think I need a little bit more. I'm just going to scooch it just a little bit more. Okay. So now this is bigger than the waistband. And then in the front, I'm going to unzip and I'm just going to pin that one 1-to-1 with my waistband. Now, the reason why I make my waistband longer than I need is because see how this side extends the width of your fly shield and this side does not. So I always make it longer than I need. That way I don't have to worry about what side I'm pinning it to. So I'm just going to pin it 1-to-1 across the front. And I tried these on and I made sure that they were not too big in the waist, because if they were, I would take some time to take them in. Now this is going to be interesting because the last time I made a pair of pants was before I lost a little bit more weight. So it'll be interesting to see like how much bigger this waistband is compared to last time. I can tell, I mean, it's really long, so you can see I think I probably lost at least an inch, maybe an inch and a half around my waist. That's kind of exciting. All right, so I'm gonna pin this. Oh, I'm gonna pin it all on the same side here so the pins are all going the right way. I'm gonna turn this inside out to sew. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish pinning. And then I'm going to turn the jeans inside out so I can sew. Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to sew it like this. I'll just take the pins out as I get to it, as I get to them. All right, so now we're going to sew this waistband on. Okay. So remember, I made a really wide, oh, Karen says, way to go. I am excited. I have to admit, I never thought I would get back under 200 pounds because I was living over 200 pounds for a long time. So it's I'm very happy that and really, it's just about not just, I'm just not eating everything. I'm not dieting. I'm just trying to not be like, choosing the things I want to eat versus eating everything. All right, I just want to get this in a good... so you can see what we're doing here. And then let me make sure we're like super sharp. Super. There we go. All right. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew this. And I'm just gonna start sewing. I don't have to worry about where the zipper is on this side, but I will have to worry about it on the other side. I'll show you what I mean by that. If you've made jeans or pants before, you know what I mean. I can feel right here, that's where the end of the very top of my zipper is. So when I sew, I want to make sure I sew right above that without hitting it. And these jeans were pretty generous on the rise for me, so I am giving a little bit more of a generous seam allowance here. It's closer to 5/8 versus a 1/2 inch. And notice the other thing is I kept taking in my jeans. Remember I shared that with you last week. I'm leaving all of that in there. So you can see this was my first stitching and I took it in another inch. So that's how I'm just going to leave it in there. But you can see I was here and then I took in another, well, probably 3/8, almost 3/4 of an inch on each side. Oh, Karen says menopause has me not eating a bunch of starch and sugar. Helps keep the hot flashes away. Oh my God, that's so true, Karen. That's so true. Whenever I overdo it with the carbs and the sugar and the wine, for example, I'm very sad because the hot flashes are always worse. I hope mine go away. I've heard both things. I've heard that hot flashes go away. I've also heard from some people that they never go away. All right, now as I sew from here to my center back, I'm just stretching the yoke. I'm stretching the waistband to match the yoke. And I don't really even have to stretch. It's just fitting in there really nicely. And then I'm gonna sew across my center back seam. Oh no. Victoria says that she hopes her gallbladder mess will help her lose weight because nothing tastes very good, and I fill up so fast. Oh. Hope they go away. You have your wine waiting on that, I know. Oh dear. It's always problems. All right, now I'm going across my other side seam. And we're coming to the other center front edge here. Now, the thing I have to really be careful about here is you want to make sure whatever seam allowance you're using is really accurate. And I know it always should be, but where it's really important that it's really accurate is at your center fronts, because if they're not accurate, then the left and right side of your jeans won't match up height-wise. Oh, I know. Tana said that this denim looks like suede on camera. It has a very soft feel to it too. And like I think I might have said to you guys when I showed it to you initially, it came pre-washed. So, and then I washed it some more. So it's just very soft. That's why I'm dying to wear these, because they're going to be so comfortable and warm in the winter. I'm very excited about them. All right, let's look and see what we have here. If I can make this a little bigger. All right, so I'm just looking to see that I matched up there, and everything looks really nice. So now I'm going to press. I'm going to get my pressing thing back over here. I'm just putting my fork pins back in their little case so they stay nice and neat for me. Okay. All right, so now I am going to be pressing this. And what we want to do here is, that's why I'm putting myself upside down, because we want to press all the seam allowances up. Lazarus is checking in here. Hey, hi Jen. From my experience, I'd say the main pattern can be even 3 centimeters, about 1.25 inches bigger than the waistband. So we ease in the waistband, especially with softer fabrics. Yes, I agree with you. And that's nice, because if your fabric around your waistline is bigger than your waistband, and then you ease in the waistband, what happens is the fabric right below your waistband does not press against you. And if you have a belly like I do, it's shrinking, but I still have one, then I don't feel like the fabric is that, pressing that hard against my belly. Of course, I did it 1-to-1 in the front, but, you could give yourself more ease. That's a very good point. I'm giving you a gold star. Oh, good. Karen is praying for Victoria. I love that. I feel like we all need little blessings and prayers. Okay. All right, so you can see here, I am just pressing these seam allowances up. I'm going to do it from the wrong side, and then I'm going to double check it from the right side in a minute. Now here, I'm also going to trim off using my new favorite scissors for stuff like this. I'm actually going to trim, well, I'm just going to trim these just to get rid of a little bulk here. I'm not going through the whole seam allowance, just the turn back ones like that. See? Okay. Just to remove a little bit of the bulk. Okay. All right, I'm just finishing the front. Why does the waistband have a center back seam? I started putting center back seams on my pattern because I like the way the chevron shape, it creates with the denim, with the twill weave. But that also means I use 2 belt loops, one on either side of center on heavy denim. If you want your belt loop at center back, I would get rid of your center back seam. That was an excellent question, Vicki. Gold star. Now I want you to notice I kept pressing my seam allowance up on my extra. I do not have a belly. I don't know. I mean, I'm working on it, but I feel like an alien came down and switched my body out recently. I don't know. All right, I'm going to turn these inside out just to make it easier to press it from the right side. I will say that not having a defined waist is good camouflage for having a belly because, you know, all my measurements are very similar. All right, so see, now I can see what I'm doing, right? So I'm making sure that I really pressed properly from the right side here. All right, let's see. All right, you notice I'm really taking my time pressing because getting a nice flat or a nice crease or a nice press seam really ends up helping everything look nicer at the end. Oops. All right. All right, so let's see what we have now. Oops. Okay, so let's look at this side first. I am going to trim my extra allowance down to, I don't know, a generous 5/8 or so. And I'm going to use my ruler to do it. Like this. It's hard to see what I'm doing. Let me make it. Let me just go like this. There we go. It'll be easier to see. feel like we're too bright. Okay. So I'm using, so just to show you, like, I want to make sure it's straight. So I'm going to use the center front edge here. And actually what I can do is I can use my little piece of chalk to just continue my center front edge up, right? Then I can use that line to cut myself like 5/8-ish. Okay, so now it's trimmed to 5/8. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. You know, and again, I can use my ruler to make sure I'm going straight up like that, and then I can trim that down to a 5/8. All right, so now I've gotten rid of my extras. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring my pressing thing back. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is, oops, I need my iron. I am going to press this like this. And this is where using a clapper is definitely going to be super helpful, because I want to make sure that that stays completely flat. So I'm going to let that trapped heat really get in there. All right, and then this folds down like this. And on this side, I am just going to trim this little corner off here, like that. So when I fold it down like this, it's not going to show. See how it definitely does not show, right? And I'm going to let it, actually, I'm going to press the waistband side a little bit deeper, like maybe just like a 1/16 of an inch. So let me do that again here. Hold on. All right, let's trap the heat there for a second. And then I've discovered, and I don't know if I've told you guys this or not. I think I might have at least one other time. But what I've noticed is now that I'm, really taking my time and sewing things, like finishing projects, like I'm not just cutting something out and sewing it in one day. Like I work on something over a week or two, like these jeans, for example. What I'm going to do here is I'm literally going to put these magic clips here, and I'm going to use 3 of them, because what that's going to do is it's going to really make this fabric understand that I want it to be folded like that. I'm going to clip this back a little bit too, just a little bit. Oh, wait, yeah, I am, because I don't want it to stick out. So I've got it exactly where I want it, and then I'm not going to sew it today. I'm just going to I'm just going to clip the daylights out of it like this, and then when I go to sew it later, it's going to be so much easier to get an accurate you know, an accurate stitching, because it's basically like I'm beating the fabric into submission by keeping it clipped like this. So I'm just going to go through now and finish just pressing this down. Now remember, I've already pressed the top of this, so most of this is just going to be able to, you know, lay flat. Oh, I got to let me turn these the other way. All right. This other side is the side that's more of a high maintenance side because the zipper is there. So let me show you this side now. So this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to clip this little doodah right there. And I'm going to turn this to the inside. Like that. And I'm going to give this some really good steam. Then I'm going to trap the heat with my clapper. And we're just going to let that, you know, do its thing for a minute here. All right, and then when I put this down, here's where the trickiness comes in over here. This actually has to fold up on itself like this so that I can see my top stop on my zipper. Let me zoom in so you can see what I mean. Oops. So see, we want it folded, but then we also want it folded under like this. And I think I'm going to trim this back here to get rid of some of that bulk. And you know what? I'm actually going to use a piece of Wonder Tape on here. This is like my antique Wonder Tape. I'm going to use this Wonder Tape to stick it to itself here because I have a lot of stuff going on. So there's no shame in using some tape. So again, I'm going to beat it into the fabric with my nail. And then I'm hopefully going to pick off the backing without too much agita. And that's going to help me. Oops. Like this. Then I can really wrap that tight there. Like that. See, now that will stay. So actually, I don't need the clapper for this side because I stuck it on with tape. Then I'm gonna press this under just the amount I need. So the zipper shows. And then we're gradually gonna let it come back to its full width. So here is gonna get pressed. Sorry, I almost burnt my fingers. And then I'm gonna whack it with this. All right. And then after I whack it with that, I'm going to make sure I clip the daylights out of this section too, and I'm going to let that sit for a while. All right, now that I've got these two, my center front edges done, you can see I purposely made this waistband a little bit more narrower than my usual waistband because the rise was already generous. and I didn't feel like lowering the rise by the time I finally got it to fit around right. So I'm going to put clips, you know, every few inches along the top of my waistband again to get it to bend to my submission, especially at center back here. I'll do it. All right, and then, you know, tomorrow I will probably sew this, top stitch it, but I want it to be all nice and in agreement with me. So now I'm going to look at it like this. Okay, so you can kind of see, I'm going to zip my zipper up. And what I'm looking for is to make sure that my waistband is the same height and it's the same there. So see how the seam is even across the opening, and it also is the same here. Okay, so that is the top of my jeans. I'm like super excited. Ta-da! So I got done everything I wanted to get done today, a little over an hour. I'm sorry about keeping you a little extra time, but I also want to just say that I really appreciate everybody following along with me because, oh, you love the pin tucks? Did you see how to do these? You literally just make little tucks. You literally just fold the fabric and sew close to the fold. What's going to happen with these is eventually the stitching will probably start to come apart, and then you'll have little whiskers there, you know, from washing and wearing it. So I am very excited. I think you can see why I'm really excited to just want to wear these. Now this will get belt loops, and so I can wear a belt with them. So I will show you belt loops next week. And I'll also have my back pockets next week. I'll have one back pocket sewn on, and I will show you belt loops and how to sew back pocket on next week. So basically, we'll finish these jeans up next week. I have a lot of other things to do this time of year, so I'm not going to finish them, but I am very excited. So I just want to thank everybody for following along with me. And let's see. Oh, Barbara says beautiful and Karen says cute. Thank you, ladies. Yeah, so is anybody else sewing jeans with me, or am I sewing them by myself? If I'm sewing them by myself, that's fine. But in addition to belt loops and back pockets next week, I will also hem them and show you my hem job. But I'm also going to show you the pattern and what I'm doing for the second pair I'm going to work on. I'm going to make 2 pairs because I'm in jeans mode. So I'll show you that next week along with finishing these. Oh, Sleepy Dog says, thank you for your live streaming. They look so good. I love learning from your videos. Smiley face. I hope you have a good weekend. Well, I hope you guys have a good weekend too. And, you know, I hope everyone's taking time to just enjoy the season. I know not everybody loves the season. So if you're one of those people who, you know, gets down on the holidays, you know, I'll send you good vibes. Because I have some people in my life like that are just not good on the holidays. And you know what? And that's okay. If this is not your time, guess what? It's almost over. Literally, you're going to blink. It's going to be the new year. So I just want to wish everybody happy weekend. And I will see you guys very, very soon. I will have a cool tool. I will have a fit tip, and I will see you on Friday for FabFit Friday next week. It's going to be a full schedule. All right. So I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Oh, well, wait a minute. Let me just finish with my comments here. Karen says, I'm altering a blouse soon, but also loading a quilt on the quilt frame. Excellent. Oh, Vicky's catching up on mending for money. Yes, mending for money. That's a good one. You can always make good money fixing things for people. Vicky's in survival mode. I feel you, Vicky. And Tana says, thanks, Jen, for another great sewing demo. You're very welcome. Oh, DIYer girl. Always good to see you, Jen. Well, it's always good to see you too, DIYer girl. And you know what? I know DIYer girl because I met her at the Sew Expo a couple years ago in person. And I just want to say that if you've met me at an event and you have come up to me and, you know, to meet me, it's always special in my heart when I get to meet you guys in person. So thank you for that as well. All right, so I'm going to go now because I'm going to start to babble. That's what I do at the end. So I'll see you guys soon. Have a great weekend, and thank you for joining.